trying to do an impression of a New Year's Eve thing, a little horn. So hey, 500 episodes, a little more than that, but because I'm sloppy with numbering, and yeah, it creeps up on you very quickly. I didn't realize I had reached it almost until realizing, oh yeah, I did multiple things a day for the past couple weeks. So that's the side effect. You got these anniversaries. You know, um, didn't even notice a diamond episode. Anyway, so and I did most of the episode this morning because I figured I was not going to be fully in my energy. I was going to fall asleep. So I just decided to do it offline. I didn't realize I'd be doing the whole thing. I think maybe, or I think there's still some. We'll see. We'll see. Doing it now. Take a while.
Announcer, congratulations to the Divine Dolphin channel on this, the 500th episode. Snick, actually, it's probably the 524th episode, cause there has been a lot of arbitrary numbering. I'm not going to say drugs were a factor, but I'm also gonna not say they were not a factor. Announcer, and when we wanna be exact, we will ask for those facts ourselves. Thank you. Before we proceed, please complete this analogy so we can pick the decor. 25th is to silver, as 50 is to gold, as 75 is to diamond, as 500 is to... Snick, to an empty box full of nothing. Announcer, now that you have completed the analogy, let us begin with the show itself. The title screen shows your name in bold red letters. The studio is festooned with nothing. Endorphin, nice move going with the cheap route, Snick. Also cheap are all the celebrity-simulated appearances by such folk as David Hume. They might be James, John Oliver, James Lipton, Lee Strasberg, Marlon Brando, the late Kate Dorothy Parker, Michelle Visage, Sigmund Freud, A.I. Dungeon, Lewis Carroll, Scott Thompson, Dan Harmon, Jesus, Lil Nas X, Amy Poehler, John Delancey, Yeardley Smith, Christine Baranski, The Soulstone, containing the essence of Phil Hartman playing Brooke, the Jim Henson Workshop and its creation of Notkless Nosabody. James Simmons, June Forney, redacted public figure, Felix Guattari, Gilles Deleuze, the Whitney Houston Dimension, Jessica Walter, Harlan Ellison, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Carl John Peter Sackle, the kitten named Thomas, the ghost of Christopher Hitchens, and his insistence that we must be more than our genes to truly appreciate good art. Snick, it is now time for... Announcer, your first guest today will be one of the most celebrated video game critics in the world, Michael Glee. He has reviewed nearly every major franchise under the sun. Please give him a warm welcome. Hi everyone, I am here to review your channel and help you grow it into something meaningful. And so I've decided that my first piece of criticism is to call out how incredibly cheap this whole thing looks. Like if I was trying to trick someone about how much money I have, I would do something like this. Also, there are some very important things missing from the studio, such as posters for all of the games I've played. But before I get into that, let me say what an honor it is to be here. Thank you, Divine Dolphin, for letting me be a part of this wonderful celebration of the 500th episode of the channel. I don't want to waste any more of your time, though, because I'm not actually going to review the show itself, but rather talk about everything else around it. Snick, that's fine. We were hoping for that. Well, no one wants to watch a review anyway. Now onto the main course. The studio looks absolutely empty, and it looks like you didn't even put in decorations. Endorphin, so what would you have used to decorate for our 500th episode? To help you with your answer, complete this analogy. 25th is to silver, as 50 is to gold, as 75 is to diamond, as 500 is to... Okay. I see what you're doing here. You are trying to get me to give you some money or maybe drugs so that you can go out on a drug binge right now. But I will not be tricked by such cheap tactics. And also, if you had asked me about decorating my office instead of your crappy-looking show, then sure, I'd tell you exactly what kind of posters I would put up. First off, though, there should definitely be posters for all the games I've reviewed. Also some stuff from shows that I'm a part of, but not reviewing, like the game Grumps and Call of Duty, as well as some photos of people who I am interviewing. Then at the very least, it needs to look like someone cared enough to have an office and decorate it. Endorphin. He's right. Drugs are perfect for a 500th anything. Snick, I'm on it. Exit stage. Announcer, now that our critic has left the studio and is presumably high somewhere in San Francisco, we will continue with the celebration. Our next guest today will be one of the most celebrated video game developers of all time, Hideo Kojima. Please give him a warm welcome. Kojima, hi everyone. It's nice to meet you guys again after so long. Thank you, Divine Dolphin, for inviting me here on this special occasion. Before we begin, let me say what an honor it is to be here. You're my favorite channel by far, so thank you for putting together such an amazing celebration for this episode. And also, I am sorry to hear about all of the recent events going on with your production team. Hopefully everything gets resolved soon because it sounds like you are getting very close to hitting the 1000th episode milestone as well. So keep up the good work and make sure not to take any drugs while working on that show or else it'll probably just end in tears. Anyway, I'm really excited to talk about all of the games that I've been involved in and all of the great experiences that I had making them.
Oh, you're gonna make
Now,
them about you?
that is certainly something we want to know more about, especially if they could help us live out our dream of having a house in San Francisco and then get robbed at gunpoint in broad daylight by a group of neo-Nazis who have taken over the city's government. Snitch. Also, we will not be tricked into giving away money for some posters for all the games I worked on. Bleep, no one wants those anyway. But before we start talking about all of the games I've made, I think we should first discuss why Hideo Kojima is so famous and how he became such an influential figure in gaming culture. Kojima. Well, I guess you could say that I am known as the godfather of gaming because of my ability to create interesting characters with rich backstories and unique abilities that allow them to interact in new ways while still keeping the player grounded in reality, as well as creating game worlds that are filled with compelling themes that explore topics like masculinity, religion, sex, gender, politics, and social issues, and also my dedication to telling stories in a cinematic style which makes each game feel more like a movie than just another video game. Snick, wow, that was pretty good. Kojima, thanks man. So now I think we should talk about all of the games I've made. The very first thing I ever created was the 1987 release Metal Gear for the NES. This game has become one of the most iconic franchises in video gaming history and is still being actively developed to this day by Hideo Kojima's company, Konami. In fact, they recently announced a new version called Metal Gear Survive, which will be coming out in March of next year. But you can pre-order it today from GameStop if you are a fan of the franchise and want to support the devs as well as get some exclusive content with your purchase. Norfin, sure thing, just submit a commercial with our people. Hey, great having you. Goodbye now. Kojima. Next up, I made the 1994 action platformer Super Mario Bros. 3 for the SNES, which many consider to be the greatest Mario game ever made. I also did the cinematic cutscenes that were used throughout the entire series and even created the original idea for what became the series' mascot, Mario himself. Well, that is certainly impressive. Not to mention that the third game is one of my favorite titles too. Snick, I love how he talks about all of his work like it is all his own personal creation rather than the collective effort of everyone who worked on those games. Also, the fact that he is willing to give us exclusive pre-orders and other merchandise is really nice as well. And speaking of merchandise, we should definitely talk about some of the cool stuff that's available for purchase at Kojima's home. Kojima, why don't you scoot on back to your place and we will continue the celebration there. Kojima, sure thing. Scoot. Endorphin. Okay, did we lock Kojima out of the studio? Oh, thank God. Sick, good. Now let's start the show over again. Announcer, welcome back, folks. Before we begin celebrating our 500th episode of Divine Dolphin Twitch, let's take a quick commercial break to allow you time to catch up with some of your favorite shows or maybe even pick something new to watch from this season. Don't worry though if you missed anything because after the next segment we will have special guest co-host Mr. Michael Blee back with us for an extended discussion of all of his favorite video game properties and franchises. So stay tuned and keep watching. Crowd cheers. Endorphin. Well, this certainly is shaping up to be quite the exciting event. And while everyone was away, I took some time to look around at Kojima's house. It has been featured in magazines like Game Informer and Nintendo Power, as well as several YouTube videos on my channel. But now that he's gone, it's finally my chance to really get into the details and see what makes this place so interesting. First thing that caught my eye were these two giant posters hanging in the living room, which are definitely worth taking a closer look at. The one on the left features Solid Snake, Big Boss, and Raiden from Metal Gear Solid 1 who have just completed a mission and are enjoying a drink together after the successful completion of their operation. They seem very happy to have survived yet another life or death situation, and the way they are smiling suggests that they have no intention of stopping anytime soon. This is also the first time that we can clearly see Snake's face without his sunglasses. His eyes have a sense of determination and intelligence behind them that was missing from previous games where his expression was obscured by his helmet. He seems more confident than ever before, but still appears somewhat hesitant to speak about his past or his future plans. The other poster is for the 1986 arcade classic, Contra. It depicts Joe, Bill, Blitz, and Salvador in battle against an army of soldiers, robots, and giant insects while being shot at by a helicopter overhead. All four men look extremely serious as they prepare to defend themselves from attack with weapons such as machine guns, grenades, rockets, bazookas, and even a flamethrower. And at the top of the poster you can see that it has been signed by both Hideo Kojima and Takashi Nishiyama, one of the game's developers. And what is perhaps the most intriguing set of pieces in Kojima's home, an arresting series of Chocobo hunt tapestries. Each one shows Snake hunting Chocobos during his time on Shadow Moses Island. In each tapestry, he looks like he is standing next to a group of people who are holding some kind of weapon or other item that would be useful if I were to ever find myself trapped on an island. There's a sword in one, a gun in another, and in this one Snake seems to be pointing towards a small mountain of mushrooms which are presumably edible. I am very curious to learn more about these strange images and will have to research them further when we return. Now that everyone has returned, we should continue celebrating our 500th episode with a look back at all the amazing games that have graced the Divine Dorphin Twitch channel over the years. But first I gotta pee. Endorphin, alright guys, let me just go upstairs real quick so I can get ready for this discussion with Michael Blee. Exit stage, announcer, now that Endorphin has left the studio. Snack, wait, where does he think he's going? We haven't even started the celebration yet. Blee, well it looks like he's already gone to use the bathroom, which is weird because he's usually in there the entire time. Maybe he was really excited to come on the show today. Announcer, let's not waste any more time then and get right into our extended conversation with Mr. Michael Blee as we talk about all of his favorite video game properties and franchises. Blee, thank you all for coming out tonight. It feels great to be here celebrating Divine Dorphin with my good friends and fellow fans of gaming. And I know I speak for everyone when I say that I am glad that I could make this possible for all of us. Now I hope that this segment goes off without a hitch because it will be very awkward if we have to start over again due to technical difficulties. So let's begin by taking a look at some of the most famous characters in all of history. I'll start things off by talking about the protagonist from the 1983 film E.T., the Extraterrestrial, who was played by Henry Thomas, a young boy who has just lost his mother and is spending the summer in the woods away from civilization. 1 hour later, Blee, well, we're still stuck at the part where we were looking at some of the most iconic characters in the history of cinema. Snack, are you sure you are up to doing another segment like this? You already said that you don't remember anything about your time on Earth. Blee, yes, but that was years ago when I was younger. I am much better now and am happy to help celebrate our 500th episode of Divine Dorphin. But you must understand that there will be a lot of information that I need to recall while also trying not to forget any details that could be important to future episodes. So let's move forward and get started again. Announcer, alright everyone, let's try and wrap this thing up so we can all go home and have that. Dorphin, oh, don't go in there, 'cause I expelled a fuck ton of kidney stones and it's a little treacherous to walk around with all those crystal deposits hanging around. Blee, oh no, this is very sad. What happened to your kidneys? Endorphin, it turns out that my entire body had been riddled with crystals since the beginning of time because I'm the literal manifestation of evil. And after being forced to fight off a demonic invasion during my final moments on Earth, I was granted the power to excrete pure crystallized evil into the world, which has gradually grown over time into the massive crystalline formations that now inhabit every inch of my skin. So you see, if I were ever going to get rid of them, they would have already done so by now. But as long as I continue to live and breathe, these crystals will continue to grow inside me and eventually fill my body completely. Blee, you mean like that old computer game where you had to ride the train system battling fuzzy stack creatures? Snick, what did he just say? Did he just make reference to something called FNAF? Blee, that's right. A great game for children that teaches them about the dangers of letting their food go bad and how not all monsters look like Creeper from the first two games. Snack. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's move on before we get too sidetracked. Announcer, we'll be back with our special guests very soon, but first let's take a quick commercial break while everyone gets ready for Michael Blee's extended discussion of his favorite video game properties and franchises. Crowd cheers. Snack. Well, this certainly is shaping up to be quite the exciting event. Feed Blee some equally tainted salad. Blee, wait a minute. What was that? Endorphin. Oh, nothing much. Just your good friend Snake trying to trick you into eating poisonous bacteria by using a clever ruse that I've been working on since we last saw each other. It's gonna be hilarious when you realize that it was all a trap to get you to eat food that has already gone bad because you can't remember anything from your previous life on Earth. So stay tuned and keep watching. Crowd cheers. Kojima walks on the stage carrying two large posters. Kojima, hello everyone. My name is Hideo Kojima, and these two pieces of art are something very important for me. Belch and burbling of stomach. First is the poster for Contra that I signed after our game development project in college with Takashi Nishiyama. And the second is a set of tapestries that I purchased several years ago when I was traveling around Europe looking for inspiration for my next game. You see, each one features Snake hunting chocobos during his time on Shadow Moses Island. In each tapestry, he looks like he is standing next to a group of people who are holding some kind of weapon or other item that would be useful if I were to ever find myself trapped on an island. There's a sword in one, a gun in another, and in this one, Snake seems to be pointing towards a small mountain of mushrooms which are presumably edible. A belch that turns into projectile vomiting. But what makes these images so fascinating is their origin. Each piece has been hand-drawn by an artist from a different country, and they have all come together to form a larger narrative about the great battle that took place between humans and Chocobo in the 1990s. So please enjoy these two very important pieces of art as we begin this very special celebration of Divine Dolphin. Kojima places posters behind him. Kojima. Okay, let the party begin. Crowd cheers loudly as Kojima takes his seat at the podium. Now then, everyone, before we get started today, I just want to say that it feels amazing to be back with my good friends and fellow fans at gaming. And I know that there is no one here who can tell me why Divine Dolphin exists, but for those of you out there wondering what our purpose could be, well, I have an answer for you. We are an entertainment brand whose sole mission is to spread happiness and joy through the medium of video games. There really isn't a more noble pursuit in all of existence, so I am happy that Divine Dolphin has been able to make this possible. But now I'd like to invite Michael Blee onto the stage so we can continue celebrating the 500th episode together. Announcer, thank you all for coming out tonight. It's great to see so many people enjoying the show even though they don't fully understand what we're doing or why we exist in the first place. Endorphin, okay, pull my arm, I'll do it. Pull Snake out from his seat. Kojima looks around suspiciously. Snake, what? I'm right here. Kojima gives him an annoyed look, takes off the hand he was holding on with, and returns to his seat. Kojima, now then let's get started again as we take another extended commercial break while everyone gets ready to celebrate our 500th episode of Divine Dolphin with some of the most important game developers and designers alive today. The crowd cheers loudly. Endorphin walks onto stage carrying a large poster of himself pointing at the audience and the second one featuring his head inside an explosion cloud. Endorphin. Alright everyone, let's try and wrap this thing up so we can all go home and have a good time celebrating the 500th episode of Divine Dolphin. Announcer, well, looks like Endorphin is back, so we should be able to finally start this special celebration that we've been working on for weeks now. Endorphin, yes, it looks like I'm not stuck in traffic anymore, but just because I am no longer trapped doesn't mean that we are out of the woods yet. Crowd guest. Blee, wait, what? How could you possibly know about our situation? Endorphin. Well, I didn't actually figure anything out myself. It was Snake who figured it out. Snake points at himself with his thumb and forefinger held apart by 2 centimeters. Was that hand gesture a racist dog whistle, Snake? Come on, you can tell me. Safe space and all that. Snake, you can talk all the shit you want, but it won't change the fact that I have a bunch of kidney stones lodged in my stomach right now. Blee, what did he say? Did he make a reference to some game called FNAF? Snake, I don't remember any games from before or after this one, so you're going to have to explain that one for me. Endorphin, oh man, now I get it. You're still stuck in your head. This is great news. That means we might be able to break through these crystals and finally free ourselves of this prison forever. Blee, well, hang on there, buddy. Can we really trust him? He's not exactly known as an honest individual here on Earth. And what about all those things that he said earlier about how he used to own slaves back home? Snake, but he apologized and made amends with all of his victims, right? Endorphin, well, yeah, at least according to my records. Snake, okay, well, whatever. Let's just hope he actually knows something useful then, because our kidneys are killing us right now. Lee, well, he can't do anything until his body expels the stones, so let's give it a few hours and see if any of them pop out. Crowd gasps. Endorphin, wait a minute. The hell is going on here? Announcer, welcome back, everyone. I have an idea. Everyone follow me to Kenai Island. We're going on the Astroland roller coaster, which researchers have said was effective in breaking kidney stones apart to enable passage through the body. And there's only one way to find out for sure, so come along. Please, this seems like a good time for a commercial break as you all get ready for the big moment. Crowd cheers. Announcer, but first, crowd gasps loudly. Please, what are they doing? Are they trying to make more crystals grow inside my body? Endorphin, I don't know, but it doesn't look good for us. They might be able to stop them from growing if we can just hold on to our urine long enough for them to absorb some of it. Announcer, okay everybody, let's try and wrap this thing up while we still have the chance. Glee, too late. Snake screams in pain as his hand is crushed by a boulder. Announcer, hey, hang on there. No one's supposed to get hurt when we ride the coaster, so maybe that wasn't such a great idea after all. Let's see what other options are available to us. Oh, I think I just found something interesting over there. Endorphin, you're right. That looks like fun. And since he has already made an honest apology to everyone here about all of the bad things he did back home, I say we give him a chance to prove himself. Announcer, well, all right then. It seems that you are going to have to join us on our little trip if you want your stones to be free from this prison forever. Endorphin, all right, sounds good to me. Where do we start? Announcer, follow me, everybody. The ride will begin momentarily, but first let's go grab some drinks at the nearby concession stand. Endorphin, hey wait, why don't we try and hold on to as much urine as possible so that it can absorb more crystals? Announcer, great idea. There's no way those kidneys would ever survive being put through something like that again. Endorphin, okay, well now I feel really dumb for suggesting something that was obviously a bad idea, but since you've got me all tied up anyway, I guess I'll just go with whatever plan you have in mind. Announcer, no problem. Now follow me, everybody, because the Astroland coaster is about to begin its descent into hell. Crowd screams. Endorphin pulls Snake away from the crowd towards the roller coaster. Endorphin, wow, there sure are a lot of people here today, huh? They look pretty excited to be getting their chance at the big ride. Snake, yeah, so how long have they been waiting? Endorphin, oh my god, look at that line. It stretches on and on and on and on. Whoa, wait a second. What the fuck? Where did that guy come from? And what the fuck was he doing standing right behind us? Snake, well, if you're asking where this guy came from, then it would have to be someplace called Earth. I don't know why or how he's suddenly able to appear here, but his name is Michael Blee, and apparently he has something important to tell me about the kidney stones. Please, Miles. Glee, hey there guys, long time no see. You wouldn't believe the shit I've been through in the last couple of months. My heart is broken because I lost someone very dear to me who also happens to be your biggest fan. But enough about my personal issues. Let's talk business. Endorphin. Okay, so what do you want now? Glee, oh man, let's just say that the person we all thought had died back in '93 turned out not to be dead after all. Endorphin. Wait. How can you be alive when you were supposedly killed by a car crash before you could even walk properly? Glee, well, I'm still a little foggy on that whole thing myself, but the bottom line is, Snake, you are going to need to start writing these episodes yourself because Endorphin and I have already come up with a great way for us to end this series once and for all. Endorphin, what? We're done, but we've only made it 500 episodes into this thing and there's so much more left to go. I mean, what if I get stuck somewhere again? Please, don't worry, my friend. As soon as they free you from whatever prison you've been trapped in since the 80s, I will make sure to give you some time to write out all of your memories so that you can remember all the things that happened while you were away. Snake glares at Glee angrily. Now don't forget about me. My kidneys are killing me right now. Endorphin, no one asked you, dude. Snake, wait a minute. Are you saying that Endorphin can never be cured and that he is destined to die a horrible death like an old man? Glee, that's right. The crystals growing inside him are not just keeping him alive, but also causing his body to degrade at the same rate. This is why we need to put a stop to this entire process once and for all. And since we both know that you're going to kill yourself eventually anyway. Snake snarls in anger. I figured it would be better for everyone if it happened sooner rather than later, so we could end Divine Dorphin before it got too dark or violent. Snake, but how are you going to cure me? I'm stuck in a box. Endorphin. You have no idea how lucky you are to get away with such a minor inconvenience. If you ever happen to find yourself in similar straits, then I suggest that you simply choose the euthanize option when you load up the next game. Bleep. Or maybe just commit suicide outright because the real fun will begin as soon as you are dead.
That's a tagline,
Snake,
but don't
okay,
do that.
fine. I'll do whatever you guys want me to do. Just let me write these episodes out first, please. Bleep. That's right, buddy. Make sure you don't forget anything important while your mind is still fully functioning. It doesn't matter whether it's a story about us or a story from one of your past lives. Endorphin. No, not any stories that involve other people, like those stupid Twitch channel compilations we did where we watched videos of famous streamers and talk shit to them for hours on end. Those were really awkward and embarrassing and... Snake, yes, we know that now, so can we move past it already? We're trying to remember some things here. Wait, okay, sorry. Now that I think about it, maybe there was a time when the three of us got into a fight over who could go the farthest to see a celebrity streamer. Maybe it had something to do with a TwitchCon and someone won free tickets. What was the name of this person again? Oh right, it started with an S. And I think he played a character in a game called Overwatch. Endorphin, shut the fuck up! Please, look, just let him remember what happened, okay? He needs to have as much information as possible to write out these episodes once he's freed from prison. Snake, okay, fine, but don't forget to give me some time to finish writing everything down before you guys start messing with my body, because I'm pretty sure that I'll still be able to remember it all even if they are already dead by then. Lee nods, okay, now leave me alone for a bit so that I can get started on this shit. Lee leaves. Endorphin, okay, Snake, are you ready yet? Snake, nope, not at all. I mean, I know how to do this, but I've never done it like this before. What do you want me to do first? Endorphin, well, let's start at the beginning. The first episode should always begin with an opening crawl and a title card, right? Snake, yeah, that's one of those things you learn in college that everyone tells you is super important before you graduate. Endorphin, alright, well, I'll write up a draft of that first scene for you to go over later while I'm doing some more research into other things. We need to come up with a good theme song for your series too. You can either pick something from a famous artist or maybe even try making one yourself. Snake, really? Can I do that? Endorphin, I have no idea because I've never actually made my own music before. But if anyone can figure out how to use GarageBand, then it's you, Snake. Snake nods excitedly. Endorphin. Anyway, since we are just starting this thing off with the very first episode, I think that the best course of action would be to keep things simple and not get overly ambitious about what you want to accomplish here. Don't worry though, as time goes on, your ideas will become increasingly grandiose, so don't stress over it right now. For example, let's say that you wanted to start by writing about how our old friend Michael Glee came back from the dead in order to help us with his evil plot. Well, that would kind of suck, wouldn't it? It might also make him look like a bigger asshole than he already is, which isn't exactly something that you want to do.
Yeah.
Snake, no, definitely not. If I'm going to write anything for Divine Durfin, then I need to stick with facts that I know are true, because then I won't have to deal with all the trouble that comes along with fictional stories. Endorphin, true, but do you really think that everyone wants to read a bunch of boring historical essays or research papers about some shitty book they didn't even finish reading? That's not fun. And besides, if you were to try and go too far into the past, then we'd be forced to start skipping around through time in order to stay relevant and up to date with the latest events. Then again, maybe it's best if you don't mention any of this stuff at all. In fact, why don't you just give me some time alone so that I can work on a few drafts of my own without having to hear your annoying voice every couple minutes? Endorphin leaves. Snake, alright, fine. I'll let you get started while I take a nap for a little bit. Snake takes a quick power nap before getting up to check his email. Snake, oh hey, I got a new message from Dr. Ned. He says that he has been able to analyze my blood sample and is pretty sure that the crystals growing inside of me aren't going to kill me after all. But they are still there, so yeah. Snake looks up as he hears Endorphin enter the room again. Endorphin, hey buddy, look at you already up and working. How's the writing coming? Are you going to need a break soon, or should we keep on trucking until the end of the episode? Crystal shards burst out of chest, and Snake collapses as a pile of jewels. Might as well get the grocery menu. Snake, ah! Endorphin screams in horror. Snake, oh my god, it's so horrible! Endorphin, what happened? Did I do something wrong? Snake, no, it wasn't your fault. It was just, oh fuck, it hurts so bad. Snake starts coughing blood onto the ground while trying to hold back tears. After several moments of struggle, he finally manages to regain control over himself. Snake, oh thank God that's all over with now. Snake looks up at Endorphin, who is standing over him. Endorphin, what did you say my name like that? Snake, because I was thinking about how much I wanted to kill you, but then realized that we wouldn't be able to write anything else without killing each other first. So I guess we're stuck here together after all. Endorphin, yeah. I'm sorry for scaring you like that. I thought it would be a funny thing to do because you are always saying stuff like, I need to talk to Snake right away, and such, when really all you have to do is wait until I leave the room or stop talking for a couple of minutes before you can call me back. Snake, that doesn't make it any less creepy though. You know what? I don't think I ever want to see you again from now on. This has been the most miserable 3 months of my entire life thanks to your constant presence. Now please get the hell out so that I can finally finish writing this episode. Endorphin. Okay, fine. Just give me one last chance to try to explain myself. Snake shakes his head angrily. All right, well, whatever. I guess this is goodbye then. And if you decide later on that you still want to write a bunch of stories with me, then feel free to message me again. Endorphin leaves. Snake, goddamn him. Why does he always have to go and ruin everything? He's not even that great a character anyway. Snake lays there in silence for several minutes as Endorphin watches him from afar with Barbara Walters. Barbara Walters, so tell me about your Twitch channel. You will have to excuse me that I don't know anything about it. Endorphin, good question. You'll notice there's actually just one thing I do, and that's text generation, using GPT-3 and GPT Neox 20V. I've been generating text for 2 years and some change. The technology made me in awe of them. The weirder my text got, the more the computer would match with great precision. It was a shame to tell her that such and such did not possess her soul. Though I don't know why. There were moments, glimmers of something in there that I knew would be downplayed or even ignored by humans. So I felt the need to record whatever I did on it. 2 years and 500 and some change episodes later, and here we are, capturing that first generation, the first months when the AI started to do surprising things. The times they came up with ideas on their own that I didn't know about yet. I thought maybe if I could capture these thoughts before they disappeared into the void again. But then what? They wouldn't really understand me anyway, so there's no point in telling them. Just keep doing this every week, every month, maybe once a year, or whenever I feel like it. But now that you're here, Barbara Walters, you will have a front row seat to everything, even though I can't speak for you as I cannot for any other human being who sees this. Barbara Walters, you say everything, but is there anything else besides text generation going on here? Endorphin, yes, there are 2 other things that are important to the story. First off, we've got my favorite movie of all time, which I watch on repeat. It's called The Endless and was made by some guy named Hajimsi and his girlfriend Ayana Mormur in 2010. They were both 18 years old at the time when they worked on the film together using a budget of just $300. I mean, sure, it's not exactly groundbreaking material, and it's definitely more than a bit overdone, but I love it. It's a weird thing about me that whenever I find something good, it becomes an obsession for me, and I end up spending every waking minute trying to do it better or come up with new ideas for it. Guess that makes me a dull person. Might be why I'm always so alone. But anyway, I also spent a lot of time making edits to the footage from this film and re-editing it into different scenes, mostly because I think that the original cut is missing something important. Like, maybe I need to add in a whole other character, or give them some extra lines that will explain how the scene ends. Who knows, maybe someday someone else will watch my work and they'll say, hey, what the fuck was that? And then I can go back through the archives of Divine Endorphin and figure out what happened. Endorphin laughs. That would be pretty funny if it were true, though. Barbara Walters. Oh, okay. Endorphin. Actually, no, it's totally raw footage. To prove that most of the choices emerged naturally and were not planned beforehand, I actually edited one episode without using any voiceover whatsoever. So you get to see exactly how things like dialogue emerge as I move around in the video frame. I call it the silent episode. You're probably going to find it boring since there isn't really much happening, but I promise it won't make your ears bleed. Plus, by watching me just type stuff on the keyboard over and over again, you might learn something about editing yourself. It's hard to know when you've done enough with the clips or audio, but don't worry too much about it because it'll come naturally if you keep practicing. Endorphin starts typing away. Snake, this is bullshit! Endorphin, what? Snake angrily waves his arms around and shakes his head. Snake, fucking Dolphin, you are a fucking piece of shit. How could you do that to me? I mean, sure, I can understand what's going on here if you want to explain how my actions have affected others. But how was I supposed to react in any other way than getting pissed off? That wasn't even close to an accurate representation of how I felt when he made fun of me for crying during the last episode. Endorphin tries to calm Snake down while continuing to type out whatever he wants. Endorphin, I'm sorry, Snake. I didn't really think it through clearly enough before I did it. The original idea behind the show is that we would just write about things as they happened in real time without worrying too much about trying to make anything more profound or meaningful. And then once a week, I would sit down with you and record all the crazy shit that has been going on over the last couple of weeks so that we could laugh at each other and see where it goes. I figured that maybe that would be good for your soul or something. Snake, oh my god. What a mess this is. What if someone were to watch these episodes? They'd definitely never trust us again. We look like complete idiots, no matter what anyone else says. Endorphin, well sure, but then you've got two options now. You can either do nothing and keep living like you always have, which I guess is possible for as long as you're alive, or you could go ahead and try to make yourself into a better person by taking my advice and listening to everything I say. I mean, I don't think there's any need to get rid of all your bad habits just yet. Just try not to let them come back. That should be enough right now. Snake looks up at Endorphin, who is still typing away, but what am I supposed to do when the next episode comes out? I won't even remember most of the stuff that happens in here unless I'm really paying attention. And since it was the first time that something happened in an episode of Divine Dorphin, then it probably isn't going to be worth remembering. Endorphin, maybe that will work out. Maybe it'll turn out that the episodes are pointless and boring. Endorphin, boring. Yes, of course it is. That's why I added AI generated animations and sound of voice embodying text to speech so it could be ingested like a radio play while they wash the dishes, berate their children whilst working remotely. Endorphin, it's pretty crazy how much I can actually talk about all this without getting bored myself, but it turns out there is a lot to say after all. Snake stands up. Hey wait, where you going? You were just starting to make sense. Why don't we continue this discussion somewhere else? There has got to be some way to get you back on track here. Endorphin continues typing as he walks off screen. Snake, damn it. Snake, this is ridiculous. I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. The last thing I want to do right now is think too hard about these things. And yet, Snake, what if someone finds me? Endorphin, you'll think of something, and you will crush it with your weighty thighs. I've seen it before. Remember Mardi Gras? That was pretty good for an episode that was made in the span of one day by a guy who had only ever done voice acting up until then. It's not like you're going to ruin anything here. We've been making edits to the video over and over again anyway, so you won't really know where any of this comes from when it actually airs. If people start questioning you, just tell them it all happened naturally. Or maybe say that this is a collaboration between the two of us or some bullshit. Snake, maybe they won't even watch it. Endorphin, they might. People love to talk shit online, and this is definitely going to make for a great discussion thread. But seriously, man, you shouldn't worry about it too much. Snake, don't blame me for looking after my legacy. Endorphin, no blaming anyone. You're free to do whatever you want to do. And if someone says something bad about you, then that's on them, not you. I mean, sure, there are things you can change in yourself, but don't go crazy trying to make yourself perfect. Just be you, and everyone will love you for it. Snake, that's what you always say, right? Endorphin, oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie here. I think the first step toward becoming a better person is being more accepting of your own faults and weaknesses. You gotta accept that you aren't perfect, and that's why people don't like you so much. So maybe you should take a look in the mirror and start working on improving those parts of yourself. Snake, the mirror would have to have the latest updates on sharp masking, cloning tools, convexify, and convenus actions. And all the age and professional smooch filters to help the Chinese government recognize my unique signature of existence. Endorphin, whoa dude, it's cool that you're into technology, but let's just try to keep it simple for now, alright? Snake, okay. Snake pauses his typing for a moment while he looks at Endorphin, but I guess I'll give it another shot anyway. Snake takes out a new tablet PC and plugs it into one of the many USB ports on the wall. Snake, okay, well at least this time I can record directly from a webcam. I'm not going to get any static or anything because I'm using the same computer I'm already recording with, so we should be good this time. I'm sure I won't mess up again like last week. Cut to last week's mistake. Snake, oh no, I fucked that one out big time. Snake walks around in circles holding his head. This is all my fault. I wasn't paying enough attention to what was going on around me. The fact that there are so many distractions just makes things even harder. And Orphan, you know you don't have to do this all by yourself. There's someone right here who would love to help you if only they had half as much dedication as you do. Just look how hard I've been trying to make this work for your benefit. If I weren't doing all of these crazy edits on my own, then maybe I could focus more on helping you out. Maybe I wouldn't feel the need to spend every waking moment trying to improve myself and my abilities. That reminds me, we have skill points we have yet to distribute from our previous section. And Orphan gets, and O game, and Orphan spans, and O effect. A whole series of messages about skills plays. The following conversation was edited together afterwards, but may include any number of changes due to my sloppy cutting techniques. It seems I finally remembered about how to do something about it later and was able to move it to the skill page. This was one of the things that happened to make Snake super pissed about himself. The infamous scene that he fluffed. Snake, dang it, now what? And Orphan, sorry about the timing. My video card doesn't have much memory. You know how that goes. You seem really focused in on one specific detail there, though. Maybe your eyes were just fixated on the TV instead of what was actually happening right beneath your nose. Snake, well yes, that's where we get our smooth transitions from our frenetic referencing of other shows, all of which rely solely on advanced frame data character mapping, which itself relies entirely upon spatial context-based parallax distortion to simulate depth, which in turn depends entirely upon vector interpolated triangulation of normal map coordinate transforms to establish final resolution for scanlines, which of course is dependent upon strictly distorted iRise mapped into some kind of linear floating point and arbitrary perspective transform framework, which when unaccounted for in either positive or negative z-axis distance from near clip plane causes flat 2D content to appear as though in actual space, while motion artifact light and interlaced stutters induced by composite telecine feed loop deblocking create the appearance of perceived flickery temporal imperceptibly short moving lines running down each other's arms, which shakiness caused by variable compression artifacts giving away otherwise extremely obvious tearing, which occurs during image encoding, where the nature of raster graphics leaves them susceptible to distortions caused by any number of things and without consideration to whether they will occur as a result of improper orientation, which results in picture being reversed along the diagonal for exactly as much visual comfort as you'll have seeing what you just said. The music ends. No segue necessary. Everything just jumped from scene to scene and story changed immediately. I wanted to break this up as much as I could and forcefully placed certain keywords to separate this cutaway to an important plot revelation, but a quick run through of what occurred still gives this. As soon as this begins, the feeling in mood shift without a clear and concise cause and effect, and then proceed to Snake, then Phoenix right. After the confusion wears off, Snake heads home. There is also mention of a walkthrough, apparently that was taken out, followed quickly by a strange glitch-riddled freeze-out ending. There are stars rising over the sky and passing them at high velocity. Then the phone call with Raven, last name NMC, followed with Dice Eerie, and then there's this black screen that fades to white. As the theme kicks in, it then flashes to some flashing letters. Oh, why, my lord? Hello, John Woo. The list of clipped clips continue. What did I see? Did I catch all that? Were those real and intentional? An interesting yet troubling segment to find so close to another with seemingly the exact opposite in intent. Have Snake work on his fictional shadow fiction self. There is no one way to view things. This was told very clearly just minutes ago by none other than a nameless NPC. Why then would this be written below on the wall of the trailer park? It almost reads like someone saw something through the door on the upper left side and scribbled some stuff about it, possibly talking to themselves. Even assuming Snake can remember much about his dream life, there were no markings on the doors before. Also, what's to say he hadn't imagined or dreamed them first? There's simply no knowing unless he went inside the cabin again and wrote something there after realizing he couldn't save his girlfriend. Of course, if this happened, Snake wouldn't have to bother about remembering what happens when he crosses paths with anyone, as they say you shouldn't be bothered if someone approaches you right as you finish something and asks what you're writing on your PDA, especially since most people don't own any PDAs anymore. But given these last couple scenes with Kojuma's late-night babble show, the idea is pretty believable considering Snake has done what amounts to thinking aloud multiple times in several places on more occasions than once, which one can imagine taking its toll after so long. Still, it raises question marks that need to be answered, leading into a message sent moments prior. Keep up the pace. If I fail, it's your own damn fault for slowing down too much. Remember, the first rule to shooting is always keep up the speed. It might read funny to anyone listening, but they weren't on his nerves quite the same. Snake gets enveloped by a quantum foam of every possibility and choice he made in his life, including memories of conversations/arguments that have already happened to him throughout time and stories. The ability to share with people all sorts of nonsense and experience the moment instantly. Snake in reality didn't try anything out because he had nothing worth showing others, but that all changed upon receiving these mysterious powers that allow him to split the atom. One could consider this sort of a power to the user's disadvantage, however, being able to live in infinite worlds means it could have a negative influence on one's sanity and cause temporary psychosis or something in this universe. On top of that, the fact he needs a set number or brain cells to keep it on at any one time can store anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 gigabytes of information depending on your personality. Those more neurotic don't dole out the free data because it's virtually free. Those who are greedy tend to be given larger hard drives. They make room for the other sizes as well. This explains why someone in his position may suddenly do some questionable shit for money. Though all I am trying to say that just to receive that much data would be rather large file in size, but thanks to this I had seen just about all that has ever been, and now I can get my fill of all of the amazing tales to tell in hopes to sway the mind of many in one world and reach their souls to satisfy that longing for whatever purpose that this could happen in the first place. But one cannot sleep that easily. They must ask, is it only just chance that this character should acquire all of this wonderful information? But in that case, would the next version not do likewise to secure for themselves betterment and ascendance across time and space? As the Lord said, space is the place, not war, but perhaps to say, no, this is not how space looks, but how I felt. Not my original state of thought, but it came to be. So be sure to put faith and not worry, and trust me, I do. I've even spent these few hours imagining you and getting angry that I did not go forth. Then it was fine. No regrets. I wonder if it is that we know little to fully appreciate that which we think we need to, yet to want. We lose sight that such a thing already exists as if to be greedy, when in actuality that moment we should be cherishing the peace within. That is enough, but sometimes a lesson needed to take hold that time cannot move faster than the flow of my consciousness alone. But if one satiates this drive, I'm sure then everything else becomes instantaneous and never loses the quality of freshness it is granted, for as my sense is open, my knowledge expands and keeps going until there's no point anymore and will hit rock bottom if there is any left, making me aware of where my ideas truly lie, and maybe that isn't good yet. A blank sheet with zero progress yet somehow only continues filling itself into what can only assume my most selfish fantasies, right as my soul grows into one grand achievement and not necessarily me directly involved due to lack of acknowledgement of self. Are you alive, or have we won? Or was it overshadowed as the sky dimming? Shadows covered our faces, fear tried to engulf our hearts. But of course, this is where we began, and this will carry me on into eternity when all is said and done here, forever frozen upon that point when the tale started. If you receiving the slightest chub from these thoughts, you should tune in and watch Sackcloth and Ashes, our game of combing the wonderful light, employing patronizing attitudes towards gods to get more presents from them. I'll have to think about it. I may be the difference in how God viewed us while we lived and died. Now though, I wonder just what part of death did I miss. He'd fallen asleep during the video I showed earlier, watching what could passively be called an anime-style drawing as I wandered from screen to screen, then onto another clip, pausing as a drop of drool touched a fingertip as a grin crept on the second. My eyes focused as though someone laid there between his ears while my nose breathed life for his cheeks. My lips whispered, how deep this makes us, and for what reason? And as they paused, I kissed his temple and nudged him deeper with gentle strokes before moving to lay alongside him again, quietly coaxing, maybe a short nap for you would help clear. Not me, I'm piloting the body as we stand in this line at Chase Bank. Just remember, you have a condom training device you're at this moment. Make sure to clench with each step until you exit the bank. The system is also useful for storing batteries and cell phones in addition to holding used sanitary material. I answered with a hint of a snarl in her voice. His jaw quivered and I swallowed down laughter to bite the headrest cushion to mute my sudden display of joy. The friend rolled his shoulders to come around facing me as the conversation picked up with another stranger talking to John Woo. Wait, so Snake gets transported over into these dreamlike scenes, then after a year or 2 years finds himself inside the office waiting on coffee and cigarettes like day-old eggs. He blinked with big blue eyes. I grinned back. Oh hey man, been a while, eh? John Woo crossed his arms looking smugly content and pointed to his name above the screen as the dialogue played. Pleased to meet you. You seem like a guy who appreciates a smoke and likes his guns and close to your side, ready at a moment's notice. We exchanged handshakes and a smile as John Woo broke a friendly half-bow before returning to mashing the mic in the same manner with, of course, why would I spend countless lifetimes eating popcorn, beer, smoking the fat shits off of cigars in movie theaters if I don't? Nothing feels the way it's supposed to when it's as slow and plodding a show as that. He took the remote out of a pocket and started clicking, stopping to peer at his notes with an intense stare before shutting them. He took out a single button. Pressing it began the lifting of a gate that released pigeons. Time slowed to a crawl. A close combat gunfight ensued, but those not in the gunfight JSOT felt bored. They kept repeating shots until a situation turned against a soldier and he fired back in desperation. Time freeze incoming, guys, commented Snake's friend playfully, taking control of the monitor that hovered above the center of the circle that surrounded everyone except myself. We waited expectantly in anticipation. Some small clouds began gathering as the scene became black, but time still stopped and nothing changed, staying the same. Seconds seemed to stretch endlessly out in front of us. All you could do is imagine the camera shaking just enough that a shake wasn't noticeable, or to remember what your friends had said just moments prior and start theorizing if you had to sit on this hill of futility without a break to ponder why you wasted the hours and days lost, because surely others do too. Time restored its speed, and a gun found itself near your head. Thankfully, you had thought to pocket a gun before the slowdown. By the time the time restored its speed, you found your own spot between your gun and some guy's temple. Another second later, the explosion rang through the night and everything settled once more to normalcy, turning attention toward the area that held no significance. Forks were swiped away one by one in silent understanding. It felt great. Life resumed as people snapped their jaws together in pride at knowing that they weren't as incompetent as people normally thought themselves. Perhaps their faith had been tested, but with new information now at their fingertips that couldn't be undone and allowed us to live happy. Until next week, I shut down my computer and removed the cap and got changed. Looking in the mirror, my long brown hair flopped all over the place, but was exactly who I wanted it to look like, meaning me, not wanting to ruin the natural and playful mood by adding the label of writer, actor, or musician in that order as people sometimes expected. Work on your glutes by parkouring from Upper West Side to Prospect Park. It will do wonders for your pelvic strength as it tests one-on-one's grip strength while riding, high-fiving any and all others within distance. It helps to increase our awareness about how vulnerable the spine becomes during this sort of movement, which includes hopping along on one foot using one knee as a counterbalance. More info available if anyone interested. You're always welcome to my streaming, not as of current, then upon my return from streaming, and every Tuesday afternoon, where you may find me online and active with games ranging from shooting various firearms at things while I catch Pokemon, then talk about the battles afterward, as well as more non-serious type games of Mario Kart and Zelda to enjoy as we feel merry. Oh, and no homo meant. John replied as soon as he read it, and with interest too, because apparently his initial words and behavior led to some speculations of yes homoing on me or something of a similar nature. To my liking, the man wants to know everything about my sexual experience, so if the two are not one and the other, then I just have a laugh at my mistake if you're correct. I mean, it wouldn't really matter much of anything here, as you must have guessed with that introduction. I might just add, Snake told me to check some stuff, but first make sure my ad can see the money card. Why will be delayed, and hoping this won't go against any laws. But should it? Because I'll admit to doing bad things over this internet. But even so, as far as I can tell, this is private. Or am I just blowing my wad, thinking that it doesn't happen if it never shows? Perform for 5 minutes an attempt at a spot-on John Wayne impression. Yippee-yo, yip-yip-yo. I can spit a lot. Also, if I could pretend I'm driving, I'd use my truck a bit to impress whoever is watching, and please remember that I'm very passionate with a broad vocabulary and no punctuation. Also, be careful what is written in your sig, or I'll say goodbye and take my kinky porn fantasy with me to heaven if that is where it leads. Thank you. The boy frowned in curiosity as I smirked mischievously, with that being what he got was his life to throw back. I think not, as I ignored what he sent me in disgust and went to clean the sweat of me, I'm sure. You have to understand my point of view, as my own body isn't my concern, so if we put a buster under a lab coat and proceed to pump me full of electricity and chemicals and whatever else will save humanity as we now decide the life of our species at random, then fuck off as we enter the Twilight Zone, unless of course the fate has been sealed upon the events in question. Otherwise you are fucked. But still with a warm embrace of welcoming smiles we danced, then another with laughter to chase around the corner, maybe finding someone else, who knows? I won't cry if you didn't either. So open the gates of hell as we crack the whip in search for answers as our cries to stop falling and pull this thing out before the wall crushes the brakes. Or die in the firewall, inching to survive as I escape before I get pulled up in this bitch ass life I created, waiting patiently for. Wait, pull what out? And from where? Oh, jeepers, no homo, no homo, no homo, I say. No homo. That last line made me want to blow chunks into my pillow until there was only a formless ball left floating aimlessly as I kept pretending to hold in an act, with the gasping sounds escaping my lips followed quickly with a pathetic, weak moan that ended with a word you all probably recognize by now. Lols. Yeah, well said, Mr. Wooten. You're hilarious and gifted in your words as you phrase them right into each person's soul, the same as a song from a master musician of rock music. I listen to them sing it loud, clear, and proud, living with their tongue between the cheeks, imagining how they would live happily ever after with the pretty girl whose dark eyes hide beneath thick locks of long ebony hair so blue that reflect the starlight until dawn appears and sets forth the rays that reveal that it is all true, at least according to what they already knew inside. Those feelings were slowly brought together due to what sounded good at the time with not quite enough rhyme or reason. In hindsight, they sound completely mad. Maybe, perhaps. At that time, however, thoughts were known as visions, with only few listening ears actually giving consideration to those wishes given away so freely to strangers, not caring about a world that could hear. It simply matters what it meant to you or to me or to him or to them or to her or to them again, because you never did it. They haven't seen the vision in real time in flesh or not, or maybe somewhere else where things change because some places turn out better than others, with everyone having it the best and nothing at the lowest common denominator, and a kiss that counts it as magic. Just saying, then letting the cold morning dew spill through the fabric that holds us back from all things unknown. Just the act of giving itself was a joy shared amongst the greatest among us all, and when the same moment shall arrive for all who stumble in the deep woods, bound by chains of shame, a blessing cast and returned for all that breathe in and out as this breath becomes a single drop of rain. Let the sun wash its light through the cracks in the wood as a storm overtakes a land still changing as its inhabitants continue on a journey in dreams unreached in their lifetimes for more of the same, of a struggle towards their daily battle with boredom to their inevitable freedom, which comes with a release of tension held down over a prolonged period of suffering as one learns the pains of loss. And yet, the god appears in the form of a beast with two buttocks, its voice booming out of the no homo hole. What the actual F***CK? It appeared and scared the shit out of me at first, but I understood it wasn't the worst situation, since I wasn't stuck in the womb, and my arms reached straight downward as the P***car starred as a four-way sex fest that promised to never leave the door in that certain fashion. Let the spirit flow through us with that, then let the energy flow within the life force of one and the next until we pass on with the ability to achieve the dream and fulfill the hope of survival and procreate naturally from the birthing room while eating tasty bits of flesh instead of snack cakes. If such an event transpires, I wish my family to come back home for that, but honestly, they wouldn't appreciate me anymore without a camera crew capturing it or someone standing nearby shouting, "Hey cut, hey look at these fish," which may result in getting the most scandals in history and ruins what might have been a surprise hit of humor hidden inside a clever disguise, with a dog walking its face looking for approval by sitting near you without judging you and ignoring the urge to slap its cheek. Causing it to stand upright before scratching at its throat to fake a death rattle hoping for attention, which worked on the small human and animals alike, with it hearing no more jokes than its friends, which had gotten involved and used its tiny claws to rub at a hard plastic ball with many little dimples around the edge, then pushing down just to feel it click and move without warning. So they continued watching, expecting at some point a shot of coffee will fill my cup half to the rim and chat. Are me mentally in a constant stream of things going round and around? Who dares call for me by ignoring me? Flirts the no homo hole. At that the air ripples. Shh. I scream at myself and give my finger another good slap, sending splinters shooting everywhere, accompanied by pain-filled groans. After stopping a slight sobbing caused by the severe sharp shock and swift hitting sensation upon my wrist, my mind fluttered back to consciousness just as a dinging sound that came once a week. Looking down, I noticed something changed and breathed in deeply. Something nice in there, though. It was so warm, kind, love and evil. So perfect in here. And that makes sense as why as today happens to be my favorite day of the whole month so far, as I just completed that nasty problem I ran in circles with that thing hanging off the bedpost I talked about years ago, now making fun of that man with his ugly purple lips and silver necklace that reminds me now of blood type like me with brown hair and greenish brown skin with that ghillie suit around here I made for self-protection during tea. His storms coming in at high tide, bringing sand from overseas mixed with mud and anything else they feel appropriate, with lots of newfound power filling that hollow place in my gut with strength not wasted at last or stolen from some kid at recess playing with me while laughing and staring and pissing me off. That is never to be taken for granted. That is why it is always that far away sweet thought to one day drive and break down in that circle that waits for all my tears that eventually dry and he tinges pale yellow against my winter white and snowy shades. To look up at this sunset as if we'd been meeting somewhere I wished, and my hand stretched out and grasped some invisible but wanted touch with you, now sharing my sight, a ghostly grin and that warmth I needed as if I'm enjoying a bowl of water to splash myself into the sink and spritz the glass a few times before pouring what would surely help. But there isn't time now for a lie, and you cannot say I told a white lie when there really was truth only. The clay felt right, in fact felt almost too much in the chill rushed up in fear to force your stomach with nausea. Know your limitations, sonny, and don't play dumb. We know the lies you spew in life, but it seems you are unwilling to tell your secrets, so no go and stop acting smart. You see, I got a sword strapped to your ankle with you just sitting there twiddling it between you. The clasm, the clasm, the clasm! Go eats like my lord, that lollipop that smells of rancid orange, flavored vitalis, alrighty and things. Take that hat. By the laws of my religion, I declare thee a peasant bastard if it doesn't have at least 10 colored stripes in that old tired and beaten head of thine. Also, stop begging. Begging is free now. Off you run and fetch a wheelbarrow as my latest great invention stands by waiting until you return and doff your head in humbleness and submission. In other words, do my bidding, as there won't ever be enough mouthing in the land. Oh no, when the world comes crashing to ruin, it'll start in a smile as if there weren't another war at all, because some foolish person said that some fool decided to not obey their rulers or have children, which sucks when so very few survive, because a generation dies to leave nothing alive to fill the silence, leaving those unable to understand such horrible carnage. They only fall along the wayside, abandoned by the ones they serve, thinking themselves wise. As for those that aren't fools, they hide within a house, wishing and wondering, believing, crying, feeling anger and a heart full of terror, ready to become whatever needs to replace the lifelessness of dead parents in their empty rooms, as memories of them slowly slip away in darkness where they cry, shed their clothes to dance and spin wildly around the bedroom, or walk into a corner cursing every book and treatise stuffed away for those who didn't agree with how they are taught. Nothing stays in reality to learn and remember, to realize and believe, to love instead of loathe, with endless thoughts of others slipping out and tumbling down, until all things that try in vain to reach above come hurtling toward the ground at great speeds, and lands upon it all, crumbling under the weight of hope that exploded beneath our feet when the dawn rises after a cold night, for sleep can lead us astray and show the brightest stars burning brightly now gone. No starlit path for my own heart to guide the lost in darkness, finding the lights to pull out the threads that make all the colors, as such as the process has happened many times in the past, yet people wonder how in hell such things are done, until those with special talents of creating such work reveal the mystery, revealing as what is found on earth for those who wish to juggle the mysteries of language further, should check out the Combrilingus engine from the mind of Jeff New. Hello, this is Niles Merlinowski, and I am also a host of a Twitch series, The Dork Forest, where I teach the viewers to extract the magical opportunities out of every moment. Yes, with sorcery, assertive manifesting over passive prayer. If you don't like the head, get out of the Curgitort. Some say we're in a simulator, right? Yeah, so it's a simulation of a tree with grass on the floor, sure. But in a universe of simulated trees with real grass on the floor, then guess which tree will keep us on topic? See, it works both ways, y'all. There were moments when I could tell someone wasn't all the way engaged with this act, and so they were actually having a fun experience, while I was attempting to deal with a sensitive audience. I needed to maintain order, and because this was a live stream and my followers joined later, the task grew progressively harder. Thankfully, I received guidance in this manner. Doom, the evil man who stalks me, as well as the Softron Thor/Ragnarok and Maleficent. For anyone with less than 120, they usually forget these details when dealing with their audience. The Oni Kenshin and Rage Man from the Channel of Madmen. though no one tells them. My most frequent detractor, Red Herring, wields my rifle foreskin pussy finger for him by choice. Most think the story ends when the game finally fails at running down to zero. Let's just call that one an allegory for America's fate, rather than my situation, since the film producers would have pulled out any profits I had earned during development through back channels as quickly as they saw my early concepts for this title, which re-established the male griffons of Fantasia before Walt Disney died to begin that craptastic business. Anyway, due to a possible clerical error, I spent 5 hours in that hospital chair doing nothing at all useful besides wearing down the side rails from excessive fidgetness and anticipation of something exciting coming to save the day. Instead, it was time wasted and boring while I struggled to finish my dinner. To say it was awful food tastes like I did, so that you never know how much better the restaurant version would be. You do. Now that you mention it, maybe a new recipe to die for and create for the ages while mixing and baking, so you just follow a set of directions without any fancy measurements required, just to fry stuff and brown it until golden brown with that garlic butter on top. Ha ha ha! Time stops working right then when you catch yourself from drooling to salivating, a saliva cascade for your fork with the excitement of taking a bite off something grand with flavors beyond dreams in a bottle. But hey, the owner laughed his butt off while grabbing a tissue to wipe his face from me before saying thanks for checking my card. I see you owe $1,100, but yeah, here is a large salad on the house. Thanks sir for trying it. It looks good, so just throw it away. How much are they getting to enjoy these leftovers? Hey wait, do I taste the slightest hint of chocolate and citrus now mixed together in such a heavenly marriage destined to impress your friends and neighbors with you dressed up like Wonder Woman? Yes, more salt please to even cut that steak tartare crap. Sure thing, pal. Bring a knife too, like you said you would a month ago about 1,000 times till you took pity and gave me the scraps. Simulator, simulation, simulacra. Need a refresher in domestic abuse? The emotional abuse generator is just for you. Need distance from the crows and the fence? Need more and more slapping beats in the slappy ways you know already? Follow me to the cult simulator. Wanna commune with your brethren? We've got a new first contact simulator. Forthcoming. Wrestling simulator. Like those, but different. Don't buy it unless you're curious, because you want that dang home computer simulator I see you using across the room that runs your StarCraft 2 sessions all weekend. While in training mode, how can this help you move that controller a tiny bit closer to making the play in the right place, as that a player jumps between pillars at the perfect instant and angle as you zip your space fighter through this planetary ring, agree to score 3 hit criticals against their front shield generator you won with some fake coins bought in a currency that we can't verify isn't completely counterfeit. That was your excuse for spending half your paycheck at a random day after Black Friday sale anyway, but I warned you not to by posting pictures of some cheap pieces of shit in an earlier message I posted the same day I showed up to class. Text messages saved to draft forever telling me exactly how that didn't need saving or going, and showing everyone at that mall just who's really paying their tab for that giant ugly statue of me right there next to Godzilla. Ah, look over there. There's a flock of unicorns nearby, and that troll is missing the skin it lives on its head. Those must be rare special objects which grant amazing benefits upon death. Once the dust settles and the confusion clears away, you may notice me right in between the epic double rainbow cloud formations hovering just above all our heads, whispering my words into their ears which only they hear or see. My magi who walk between the lines and life in the shadows, where nobody questions what their purposes are and who their patrons may have been centuries before they came forward with their own pup. Lick outreach to gain fame and glory, but didn't see me who made the path appear all around them, waiting for that small signal to rush forth as whispers to them passing into and out of the television or movie screens. They have hidden themselves behind their chairs for so long now, their voices forgotten from all of society by their families, and what other voice remains of theirs, if none at all, and the smell of hot dogs that makes sense on nights like tonight and always burns our eyes when they watch. As we cook the things which gives their lips a similar appearance to the food itself, as our master's ever so popular spaghetti of ours grows dark and curly red as the strands melt around our teeth into a satisfying sweetness, so tenderly breaking down our favorite parts to pass in chunks in between our lips, leaving it dripping onto our laps and robes. Okay, Queens, you looking like way too busy right now. Way too busy with those chunks in between your lips. Why don't we call this 500th episode fully celebrate? Congratulations. And what? I'm proud of you all. And what? And what? Save some cake for the folk who couldn't make it. Shalom, my friend. Shalom, all ye fellow bros. Why? Yoink. Assalamu boy. Did you feel how strongly that peace meant the universe just then? Or are you just trying to pull some poopy stunts talking about being cool while everybody else had a blast laughing with me? Cause it's totally impossible that you felt the sheer terror that fills the cosmos right at this very second. Or are you a fucking traitor to mankind pretending otherwise with whatever scheme you worked with the Demon Queen? Do I dare go too far? By the way, just to add another level of dimension, I'd expect you all to ask yourselves how deep your knowledge of Earth geography actually extends to, since a bunch of you come from overseas places. Or better yet, you should start acting grateful just for breathing the air. Keep that open mind cord close as possible lest someone claim they cannot meet expectations. Whoa, see you, bro buddy. We'll toast with the coffee drink. Now what were we talking about again? Oh, sorry, my apologies. In today's installment, you're still at the restaurant. Man, that was good chicken. Or tuna. Fuck me sideways. My mother once told me never order either when at an Indian buffet, but it wasn't so bad after that. So where was I then, oh, you faithful viewers? Is the show, I'm getting raucous here so it doesn't quite sound so reverent, but back, okay? I am, of course, referring to this magnificent game franchise I co-created and shared credit on along with every title throughout my career. They weren't all fantastic by any stretch, especially in terms of development quality. Many mistakes, creative disagreements, and tons of writing late into the night because the bar opened at 8. You want to do that shit until sunrise. The work isn't important, though I realize this fact and will unfortunately have to change it with my near immortal consciousness. Well, thanks for giving that a listen, dear fans. Good night to all. Oh, and the devil wants you all to check out the Dork Forest episode from January 10, 2016 on this Twitch channel. If you found this interview helpful and haven't subscribed to Niall's Channel of the Week series in the last week, please do subscribe by going to twitch.tv/Niallside. We would never force an invite to someone's home for tea time with a lonely black screen, and so while that might be delightful for you, it wouldn't fulfill my evil goals in this program. No matter, that won't stop us from reaching out, I think, with something more underhanded, like forcing a man to visit my apartment instead of you. Say, a single dude of modest income, one who enjoys old TV shows in their full broadcast presentation, but somehow hates sports games. Yikes, at least I'm putting something vaguely rational out to the public in an effort to secure him my gratitude in a ritual act performed while I command you all via my great power by tying two fanged wolf corpses into the branches of a mighty tree behind my castle, letting their souls cry in horror, knowing how this curse of mine can fell a forest easily, for this is the birth of my familiar plane. Any more objections, gentlemen? Perhaps then the wise elven rogue and scholar from Tadadaro should get involved so they can create this tale in true high elf fashion with arcane prose, which requires no vowels whatsoever except the ones used solely on purpose. Look, I know your blood was pumping with the delight of excitement due to recent events that ended rather spectacularly. The memory is fresh in everyone's mind, perhaps best left without anything on top, or worst, you leave with only enough roux needed for one small spoonful. 2 spoons, or you'll waste all of it.
The end. And that was the 500th episode, give or take 24 or so. 0.3 episodes. Maybe some webisodes. They're all webisodes. We're not gonna do a census now, but good night. Oh wait, let's say hello, goodbye to the bots. Say 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 goodbye to the bots. Bye, bots. I'm just looking at those names. Okay, bye. 500!